Hello and welcome to Brodual. Today we have a whole bunch of mini mods for you. These are the kinds of mods that do a very specific job, but they are essential for building the core of your modded Skyrim. When you jump into modding, people usually recommend these huge overhauls like Ordinator or Requiem, but for us it's these kind of mods that are the most fun to install. They often do just a single thing, or offer very niche, unique features that you didn't know you needed, and then all of a sudden 300 mods later you're finally ready to actually play Skyrim. Today we found a bunch of mods that have all been released within the past year, and they all fall into their own modding category, so hopefully there should be something for everyone. But first we'd like to thank Opera GX for sponsoring this video. We know you play games and you probably spend a lot of time online, and that's why you need the browser specifically built for gaming. With its GX control system, you're given full control over things like RAM, CPU and network usage, so you know exactly which websites are hogging your resources. If you're in game, you no longer need to close your browser. If a tab starts to take too many resources, the GX tab killer feature will automatically close it for you. You won't even have to alt tab out of your game. It's also fully integrated with services like Twitch and Discord. Its Twitch tab, for example, can stay pinned on the left, letting you see exactly who's live without having to visit Twitch directly. If your favourite streamer does go live, quickly pop out their stream and keep browsing. Or maybe jump into Discord where you can chat, share and more, all within the browser. When you get it, be sure to check out GX Corner, a tab specifically curated to source all of your latest gaming news, releases and deals, all in one place. It updates daily too, always keeping you on top of what's new. And then to top it all off, Opera GX is fully customizable and can be built for you. Change its theme, colour setup, even add sounds for specific actions. There are so many little features that are worth digging into. So get it today using the link down below. Jumping back into the mods, we'll start with Bears of the North. This is a visual overhaul for the 3 types of bears, making them better represent the harsh northern lands of Skyrim. Each type of bear now has their own unique model and textures. Interestingly, the mod uses a more modern method for creating fur. This shell texturing technique is used in games like Red Dead Redemption 2, and the end result is a much more detailed, thick fur coat. Each type of bear is now distinct in ways that go above just the colour of their fur. Brown bears are the most imposing, coming with the thickest fur coat of them all. They're now much bigger, coming with broader heads, thicker arms and shorter snouts. Find them on the road and they'll block the entire path forward. Cave bears on the other hand are much smaller, but come with bigger eyes and ears to help them stay alert in their darker environment. Their increased bone density also creates bigger arms and paws, giving them a hunchback, but making them able to traverse their camped, rocky living conditions. And finally, snow bears enjoy a new, thicker coat for keeping them warm in the coldest region of Skyrim. Their smaller, longer heads help them fish, and while their devastatingly powerful arms are good for swimming, they can also cut right through an adventurer, so stay safe when moving along the coast. Altogether, this is one of the best creature overhauls we've ever seen. It leaves you wondering what other modern techniques could be used to revitalise parts of Skyrim. From bears to beards, we have Beards of Power. Sticking also to the northern theme, this is a mod that offers a dozen new facial hair options, more fitting to the Nordic style of Skyrim. The new beards come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, from smaller, more trimmed styles to more extreme options that go all the way to your character's waist. There's a great amount of variety within the sizes too, from ones that are left messy, to ones that are tied up, and to some that are braided. Some even have accessories like skulls, or for something a bit more silly, some little dragons. Since there's so many to choose from, they work well for every race. Whether you're creating a handy dwarf, a wise old mage, or a strong Nordic warrior, there's dozens of fantastic new options for you to choose from. If you also want them scattered throughout the NPCs, then grab the Sons of Skyrim Replacer. This replaces the facial hair on about 70 NPCs, spreading across the entire province. The mod mainly focuses on the characters who already have beards, replacing them with more distinct, unique versions. You can now tell the greybeards apart from their beard alone, and Galmar finally has a beard fit for a true son of Skyrim. Up next we have one of the most fun spell mods I've ever used, Better Telekinesis. In Skyrim, Telekinesis is mostly a gimmicky feature. It can be handy for pulling in an item to steal it, and while it can be used in combat, it's not very practical. That is until Better Telekinesis came along. The spell is now broken down into 4 individual spells, each working in a specific way. These versions are called Single, Multi, Enemy and Reach. What the first 3 do is pretty obvious, but the 4th is more unique, so more on that later. You now no longer need to aim at a specific item. Instead, concentrating in a general area will pick up anything it can, prioritising up close items. Pulling them in is also much faster, as is launching them. It now actually feels like there's a lot of force behind the spell. Using the multi version of the spell lets you grab up to 10 items at once, which can be incredibly satisfying. You often don't even see the items before you grab them, but then all of a sudden they're in your grasp. Picked up weapons even point in the direction that you're aiming, so when you have a few, it's incredibly gratifying. Everything just feels so responsive and snappy compared to vanilla. You always hold your grip on the items and they'll always fly where you aim. You can now also carefully put items down using the shift key, avoiding those times when you accidentally hit a friendly NPC. This also opens up some classic Skyrim tactics, The enemy version of the spell can also be handy, like maybe you're in a good mood and want to help Nazim on his way to the Cloud District. And of course, I'm sure you can all imagine how powerful it is in combat, to pick up one enemy and launch it at another. The fourth version of the spell, called Reach, lets you interact with targets far away. This means that you can sit in the shadows and pickpocket a target from afar, or loot a chest, pick a lock, or activate any object in view. A cool feature, but I'm not sure how balanced it'd be. If you want to go all out as a pure telekinetic mage, you'll definitely want to do some balancing, or just stick to the improved single target version of the spell. Altogether, the mod is a lot of fun, but I imagine the ultimate way to experience it is in Skyrim VR. Jumping onto something completely different, we have Dragon Claw's AutoUnlock. This does exactly what the name suggests. Dragon Claws now have the ability to automatically unlock their puzzle doors. This is one of the easiest, most iconic puzzles in the game, and since you do it so often at the start of a playthrough, you've probably done it dozens of times. Well now, no more. The mod has 3 options to choose from: instant, simultaneous, or sequential, depending on how long you want the short visual to play. This is a perfect example of a mod that you don't really need, and yet straight into the mod list it goes. Another such mod is today's final one, Splashes of Skyrim. We couldn't let ourselves do this kind of video without offering something to boost my immersion. This simple little mod adds projectile based water splashes and ripples, and even more impressively, underwater explosions. The base game already offers limited splashing for projectiles, but this takes it up a notch. Whenever a projectile hits some water, it'll cause a small splash and ripple effect. This will work whether it's an arrow fired from a bow or a missile fired from a spell. The size of the splash and ripple will depend on the size of the projectile, and the same logic is applied to the new underwater explosions. By default, these will only happen with fire-based explosions, so explosive fire arrows or spells like Fireball will cause the new explosions. This is a great little effect. You won't see it too often, but when you're aiming for that bandit by the river, you can tell yourself now that you're not missing because you have terrible aim, it's because you want to see the cool new underwater explosions. By tweaking the mod's settings, you can make it work for other explosions too, handy if you're using a throwable weapons mod that adds grenades. All in all, it's a subtle effect and one you'll rarely see in game. Do you really need it? Probably not, but I've just endorsed it on the Nexus, so be sure you do too. And that's the end of today's Spotlight. Be sure to support mod authors whenever possible, and thanks for watching.